I have had two episodes. First one lasted 3 or 4 months in 2006. This more recent one lasted almost a year. You may be suffering from it now, you may suffer from the future. Number one, remember that you will be okay. I thought to myself, let me end my life. And then the only thing that would stop me was I was like, yeah, I brought children into this world. I have a responsibility to them.
So there's just something about our guest today that brings a smile to all our faces. He's one half of the legendary Rocky and Mayur brand of Highway on My Plate fame, the cult food show with a cult following. Two boys who practically ate everything and made us laugh hysterically just with their banter, sometimes bordering on the absolute ridiculous. That's why it comes as a surprise when you hear about Mayur's battle with depression. On the other hand, it shouldn't come as a surprise because depression is an illness, very much like typhoid or a bad case of viral, and can happen to anyone. Mayur now joins me on Zen Brain, and while we freeze in Delhi today, he joins in from Goa. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just right at the onset, I'm not one half of Rocky and Mayur. I'm maybe about 1/3. Rocky makes up the other 2/3. Like in age, in size, in everything, he's senior partner. He's more like an elder brother. I mean, we've been friends for 45 years.
We'll take your word for it. He may not agree.
I think he'll agree. The only bit he wants to be mentioned at, he's like, he's the good looks in the partnership, and he's welcome to that.
Fabulous.
But
fabulous.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So it's great to have you on the show. And, I started Zen Brain with the intention of actually speaking about topics that we don't normally talk about, especially with those that have stigma attached to it. And surely depression is one of them. So before we get into that, actually, the illusion of certainty that we live with daily, which pretty much has gone out of the window in 2020 with the pandemic. But what I find interesting about your story is that you've chosen to make some really bold career moves in your life, from leading an established career in fashion business and your choice of travel around the world. So I want to actually deep dive into that first backdrop for depression.
I think that's a very interesting perspective because those choices, as with everything else, they were a double-edged sword. So they were what contributed to this rich life that I've been fortunate enough to have. And they were also the seeds of the challenges that I've faced. I've only ever held four jobs in my life, three of which I got fired from. One I left after a week. So, and here I am giving life advice. But when I was little, everybody used to ask me, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Every child is asked that. And I remember very clearly that I never had an answer in terms of a profession. My joy was always, I said, whatever I do, I want to travel and I want to meet people. So my jobs have been as diverse as working in the fashion business. And then from there, I moved into outdoor training with kids, dealing with behavioral problems. That was my first brush with actually using different types. There it was nature therapy to help kids, primarily young male kids, with problems of depression, anxiety, violence, and all the other ways that it plays out. I did that for a while. Then I was teaching English as a second language, and we came back and I was working in that field, and then television. And if you look at that, each of these things has been about travel and meeting people. I don't know how bold they were. They were choices I made because I had the good fortune of having a very supportive parents. It allowed me to like just keep making these jumps. I think very important life learning here also, that if you have a solid base, if you have a great support system, you can literally go out and conquer the world because you always have home to come back to here. So I think all those choices were made more because I would do something and then I was very quick to get bored. I wanted to try something new interested me, and I would run off to do that. And so that led to this really rich life of trying things, and doing new things without really thinking about consequences. But as we will see later in this talk, those also laid the seeds of the challenges, because I got used to this life of movement, constant change, and third of कि मतलब कुछ नहीं अच्छा लगा तो भाग लो. The escape route. Don't stand, don't face up to it, don't say, okay, I'll plug away. I would work hard, but the moment I wasn't interested, I would move on to something new. So that thing of planting your feet and saying, let me go through this, those muscles I didn't build very well until I decided to get married and have children. And that's literally the first thing in my life that I haven't walked away from or run away from as soon as it became difficult or boring or challenging.
But I just want to deep dive again into two very major incidents that happened in your life. An accident in Africa in I think you mentioned 2004-5, and when the tsunami hit in 2004. And I want you to briefly take us through that.
Within the space of 3 months, I have three places where I was very fortunate to have walked away alive. 2003, I was in a bus accident at night crossing the border from Zambia into Dar es Salaam. Small African bus, supposed to be a 12-person bus. There were 19 people. I don't know what happened. I was sleeping when the bus went off a cliff. And I was very lucky. I was stuck in a bus in the dark in the middle of the African jungle on a cliff. And I couldn't leave the bus because it's like 3:34 in the morning. It's the African jungle. You don't walk around at night by yourself. I could hear people in pain, people this. And so I had to wait 4 hours. And then about 5:30, when first light came in, I saw that the bus was not going to topple further. I could move. So I just sat there for 4 hours. And sadly and unfortunately, I found that everybody else in the bus had expired in that accident. I was, again, good fortune sitting next to a very, very large African lady, 220 kilo lady. And when she first came and sat next to me, I was like, how am I going to do this 17-hour journey with literally sitting like this? But again, she was sent to save me, I think, because she cushioned me. And I think that's one reason I came out of it with one scratch. But it was very traumatic to sit there and then to realize that you'd been sitting amongst dead people. But I got out of that. And then a month later, another adventure. We were walking through the forest in a dried riverbed. And we literally walked into a lion. It was maybe 20, 30 feet away. And it started walking towards us. And I remember I was with an African guy, and he was like, well, I said, what are we going to do? I said, you have a gun, so can't you just fire a bullet in the air and shoot it off? And he said, no, you can't. Because if you do that, the lionesses will get curious and come. They're dangerous. So I said, what do we do with the lion? He said, if he comes any closer, we'll pick up a stone each and run towards him and throw stones at him. And this is not a lion you see in a zoo. This is a wild African lion, the head this big and stuff. And I'm like, are you serious? He said, yeah, normally they go away. But anyway, long story short, we didn't have to do that. And then 2004, I came back, and then I was waiting for my permanent residence in Canada. So I went to Sri Lanka to learn how to surf. The fifth morning, I wake up, my whole hut is shaking. I was in this hut on the beach. I step out and I see this wall of water coming. And that was the tsunami. That was traumatic also, because just to meet people who'd lost everything in lives and, so it helped a lot at that time because we were giving back. And that's where I met my partner, Michelle. She was doing relief work in a camp. I was doing relief work, and we met. We spent 6 months there. It was movement. We were helping people rebuilding a village, boats. So then it was activity, right? Action, and you're busy and all. So I didn't really process any of that. And then a year and a half later, we moved to Canada, which is where I'd wanted to go. And I had this beautiful job in the outdoors. And then there were some challenges with Michelle's family. They were not convinced that Michelle and I were right for each other. Then depression struck. I was there. It was the winter. I had a break. I was looking for other jobs in the city. So I had time. And I think then it surfaced. And it became so bad that in a week, I threw up a job that I'd managed to get. And I packed my bags. I came back to India. Spent 3 months in bed, just hiding from everybody. The only people I would see is my parents. And I would see Rocky. I would go over every night and sit in the balcony with him. And just, like when you're in depression, you have the same ruminating thoughts and negative, oh, life is finished. I don't want to go back to Canada, but I don't want to leave Michelle. What am I going to do? And Rocky would just listen and listen. And Rocky really helped and supported. And it's a funny conversation because I would sit every night. We would have the same conversation for maybe 5 weeks. So you see the depth of the love and the friendship there for like Literally for 35 days, every night I would sit and have the same conversation. He would listen and he would say, okay. And finally, I think day 33, 34, he got a little tired. He said, "Achha, bas ho gaya. Bahut sun liya maine. What are you going to do?" I was living the vicarious life, traveling, working all over the world. Rocky was married, settled down. So he would say, "Achha, bahut ho gaya." Every time, new girlfriend, new this, you're always in love. But are you sure about this one? So I said, yeah, this is the person I want to spend my life with. So he said, then ask her. So now when you're in depression, everything is negative outcome, right? So I was like, but what if she says no? So he said, then your problem is done. Because if she says no, then what are you going to do? Then you move on with life. I said, well, what if she says yes? So he said, then she'll move and then you'll have to stand up on your feet. You can't expect her to leave everything and come when you're like lying in bed and not doing anything. So I think that was the first step where I had something to plan for. I spoke to Michelle. She said, look, I'll come. My parents are not in favor. I'll get no support from the family, but I want to be with you. I will come. And she said, but we need to work. We can't just live off your parents and live in your house. So I said, fair enough. So I started looking for jobs for her and me. So that movement happened. I had to, and it was really hard. I remember times when I would have to go to a meeting with some school principal to show Michelle's CV because she hadn't arrived yet, or a job interview for myself, and I would have these panic attacks, and I'd be lying on the floor and crying, and somehow I would pull myself out of it. My mom was there. I'm a practicing Buddhist. We'll talk a little bit more about that. That's been a huge support and lifesaver. So the members from the Buddhist practice would come just to pray with me, not to give advice, not to give solutions, just to listen and to pray. So I pulled myself out of it. I started a little bit of medication, dropped it on my own when I felt slightly better. And I think so 3 months of real struggle, 3 months of just getting through it. And then I was up and running. And then it went away till it came back in 2018.
You're talking about anxiety attacks or panic attacks, and you're talking about crying. I mean, there is still stigma attached to depression, and especially when it happens to men. Men don't like to talk about it. The other question really is, a lot of loved ones ask, how can we help? And just the fact that you talk about Rocky just being there, solid as a rock, literally, being non-judgmental, just hearing you out day after day, night after night. What else do you expect, or did you expect?
Listen, when you're in that state, you're not expecting anything. You're not thinking straight. Your brain is just going in this loop of negative thoughts and stuff. So there are no expectations or whatever. There's just fear, there's anxiety. If you don't already know, it's very important. There is a wonderful video out there called Living with the Black Dog of Depression. So if you're struggling with it, it's a wonderful thing to share with your family and your friends so they can understand, because everybody's concerned. Even people with the best intentions will end up giving you advice that is counterproductive or that you can't do anything about. When you're normal, when your brain functions, when your body is fine, everything is fine, then you can take good advice. But when you have this black film of despair, of worry, of anxiety, then what good advice, bad advice, nothing works, because somebody's given you a rope, but you can't reach out for it. You can't lift your hand. So it's no good.
Just after your first bout of depression came the show itself, right? Which you and Rocky did. Were there negative thoughts that you still had? Because, one assumes that such a happy guy, how can he be depressed? How can he be sad?
By then it was a year after my depressive phase and stuff. And I got out of it. And then it was new. It was exciting. We were working 18, 19 hour days. When you have that much movement, when your brain is that active, I think the chances of getting depressed or whatever are a lot less. That innate anxiety, which then comes out later and expresses itself in different ways. For some people, it's the desire to have control. For some people, it's anger for this. So my big challenge is anger. So whenever I'm stressed or whenever I'm this, even if I'm not depressed, I'm very quick to anger. And it always happens really with the same people that I love and who love me. The biggest battles happen with them also. So my wife, with Rocky, with my dad. When you say that people see you laughing and all of us laugh. All of us at this, but all of us also have loss. All of us have bouts of sadness. All of us have times when we are stressed or uncertain or anxious. It could be a driving test. It could be an exam. It could be a job. But what depression does is it just prolongs it, right? It just longer and longer and longer. And you can't just snap out of it and shake yourself out of it. You can't deal with it just on willpower. Sure. It is not possible. That's like saying Usain Bolt is the fastest human that's ever lived on the planet. But if his ankle snaps, on willpower, he can run 100 meters and beat a 4-year-old child. He can't. He's got a broken leg. He may be the fastest human alive. But if his leg's broken, just on willpower, he can't say, I will run on a broken ankle with willpower and win a race. The mind is the same. This stigma starts and this thing starts when people are not aware of the fact or cannot accept the fact that it's an illness. You follow the same protocols or the same logic that you would do for a physical illness. If you have a broken foot, you bandage it, you treat it, you heal it, you do physiotherapy, and then if it's a bad break, your whole life you have to do things to keep it swift, to keep it supple. Otherwise, it will cause problems again down the line. The mind is the same. So there, the mind is like a pane of glass. Once it breaks, you can stick it back together again, but the crack remains. The more times that glass breaks, the more that crack is prone to breaking. So then it becomes your life, or living with depression or anything, becomes with basically making sure that you have optimum conditions where you don't put stress on that crack. Or you have strategies that when there is stress on that crack, how you diffuse that pressure out through the whole pane of glass so that your mind or the pane of glass doesn't break. You're able to absorb that blow or that pressure and work through it while keeping your glass intact. But the crack remains. I can say I'm cracked.
No pun intended there.
No pun intended. I'm cracked, but I'm not broken.
We hope you never do. But you're talking about strategies, and that's very important, right? From 2006, when you had your first bout, to 2018, when you had your second, right? What were some of the strategies that you've cracked?
So 2006, nothing. It was the first episode. It was a mild one, with movement, with hope, with working hard. It with change, it went. The second one required more. I should have been more aware, but I forgot. So I let it go for a month. What I'm learning now is with depression, with anxiety, with all these things, the earlier you catch it, the earlier you start working on it, the better. Same. If you have a sprained foot, you ignore it and keep walking on it, it'll get worse and worse and worse. You start icing it, you rest it. The chances are that you'll be able to. So I think here again, I wasn't paying attention. For the first month, I thought, okay, never mind. It's just sadness. And it happened after we'd had a major work project go awry. We were sitting at home for the first time, I think in 15 or 20 years. I stayed at home in the same bed for more than 3 months. I had to have a routine, and I was like, holy jeez, I don't know how to deal with this. I haven't done it since the early 90s. So I said, okay, it'll go away. Then it got worse. And I said, okay, let me try some homeopathy. That didn't work. Then again, between Michelle and my mom and Rocky, again, they started saying, look, take medication, go see a doctor. Then it was the whole thing of trying to find the right doctor, experimentation and stuff. But I think immediately what started helping was I went to a therapist, we started talking, and then some of it is very simple. No matter what state you're in, if you can manage to get yourself out of bed, if you can do even a little bit, if you do nothing except just walk for half an hour in the sun every day, because vitamin D is one of the triggers also. Vitamin D deficiency in your body can cause nervous damage, is one of the indicators also. So it could possibly lead to depression. So if you have exercise, if you can practice mindfulness, if you can practice meditation, and I'll speak specifically why these are important. If you can practice gratitude, you may still need to then go on medication, but here immediately you can start putting that ice on your ankle before you go and see a doctor even. Why are things like mindfulness and meditation important? Because anxiety, which is pretty much right in there with depression and this, it basically comes because of control. All of us know and realize that the future is uncertain. Between that uncertain future and the future that we really want for ourselves, very often there'll be a gap. It could be little, it could be a lot. I may want to own a Land Rover, but I drive a Maruti, but I still have a car. I may want to be married to Ivanka Trump, but I'm married to the really nice girl next door that I grew up. So there can always be a gap between expectation and reality. The challenge comes when you try and make that expectation, you try and control your future, or you start worrying about your future with that expectation in mind. It was very beautifully encapsulated by a friend of ours. We were sitting the other day, and his partner suffers from anxiety. And he's a very straight speaking guy. So he said in Hindi, sir देखो ऐसा है, फ्यूचर की टेंशन सबको रहती है, सबको अपना घर चलाना है, काम करने का, पर वो डिप्रेशन एंड एंजाइटी जो मुझे समझ आया वो उनको होती है जो अपने फ्यूचर को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करते हैं. सर कल मर जाओगे. That is a very important step in mindful and meditation, because mindfulness and meditation allow you to be present. If I am talking right now to Shruti, I am talking to Shruti. I am aware of the fact that वहाँ पीछे चिड़िया है ये, but I'm not turning around this. And that is the biggest challenge for all of us. You're looking at your phone, you're thinking about 6 things, and I still struggle with all those things, not to say that I'm this. But being mindful and present in the moment literally will take away 50% of your stress in life. So my therapist had given me this beautiful 3 things to say, a mantra that he said, just keep repeating. And then my wife wrote it out in pieces of paper and put it everywhere in the house, on the mirrors, in the house, in my prayer, this. And it said, one day at a time, one step at a time. He taught me another thing. He said, a lot of times we can't do that. We say, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. He said, then you start to imprint that in your pathway. He said, even if you just change the language in your head and say that, I don't like it. I wish it could be different, but I can stand it. Because the moment you start telling your mind is very powerful. Yeah? Your mind believes everything you tell it. There is a very great opportunity or danger in your own hands on what stories you tell your mind. So you can, coming back to that example, like I said, आप बोलते रहो यार मेरे को तो लैंड रोवर चाहिए थी, मैंने इतना काम कर लिया, गला मेरे पास लैंड रोवर नहीं है. Or you can say यार मैं जब तो फैमिली आई कम फ्रॉम, तो मतलब हमारे पास तो स्कूटर होता था. I worked hard at this. मारुति तो है, यहाँ से वहां तक धूप में चल के तो नहीं जाना पड़ता. So all these sound very trite. These sound कि यार ये तो सब logic है, but none of us apply it. Most of us are always in this thing of कि यार मेरे पास इतना है, उसके पास इतना है, I want to aspire. So
comparison,
and we
isn't it?
And we celebrate it. We are like, India, all the brands across the world, whether it's Google, everybody wants to come to India. Why? Because India, is a very aspirational society. Everybody wants to be better. Everybody wants to be more. And that is a good thing. But if it can be tempered with the thing of that when you work out, whatever you do, you're also happy with what you have or happy with what you get. It sounds so simple, but it's very hard. And like most deep things in life, it's very simple. But can you practice it? Can everybody practice it? No. What I always remember to do when I open my eyes in the morning, I just go through 30 seconds, 1 minute of what I'm grateful for in life. And before I sleep, the last thing I do, I just go through in my mind what I'm grateful for. And koi rocket science nahi hai. Most days it's the same thing, that I'm in good health, my parents are in good health, I have a family that I love and that loves me, I have wonderful friends, दाल रोटी चल जाती है, दुनिया थोड़ी देखने को मिल जाती है. As we say in Haryanvi, इससे अच्छा क्या हो गया? So I think then if you start training your mind that way, then automatically it does things. And I'll give you a funny example of but how you can train your mind. We started shooting all our shows on iPhones. So we are friends with the Apple guys and all. So they said, you're doing all these things. So we had a deal with them. So they said, we will partner with you. So they gave us a top of the line, the iPhone 12, this and an iPad and all these things. They said, aap le jao, you use our stuff. 2-3 lakh ka saman. So I was like, boss, I have to protect the screen because I break screens all the time. So I got onto Amazon and I ordered these screens, and then just the screens for this iPad and this phone, almost 8,000 rupees. So I was like, holy jeez, like that's a lot of money. I was like, ye dekho kya dimag hai. Instead of saying, कि wow yaar 3 lakh की चीज फ्री में मिल गई, I'm crying कि 8,000 रुपए जेब से डालने पड़े. So, and the reason I use this very silly example is because a lot of times our dissatisfaction, our aspiration, our anxiety is unfortunately tied to material stuff, real world stuff. But even there, if you can train your brain morning, evening, just say it could have been worse. This is what I'm grateful for. It is amazing over the long term what a huge difference it makes to your mental well-being. Gratitude is the most important and the most beautiful practice you can do to have a rich life. If you take away nothing from this talk, take away that.
Very important things for us all to remember: mindfulness and of course gratefulness. I love what you said about the mind. The mind is a very good slave, but a terrible, terrible master.
I have had 2 episodes. First one lasted 3 or 4 months in 2006. This more recent one lasted almost a year. You may be suffering from it now. You may suffer from the future. Number one, remember that as with most other illnesses, in most cases, even though you don't believe it then, you will be okay. Provided, like with anything else, if it is necessary, you go see a doctor. If it is necessary, you take the medication. You do whatever is required to strengthen your brain to get this. You take those steps, you work actively. Sometimes आपका मन नहीं करेगा. Sometimes with the best intentions and knowing कि नहीं यार आज आधा घंटा walk करनी है, आप बिस्तर से नहीं निकल पाओगे, कोई बात नहीं. Don't beat yourself about it. Depression is basically what depression does to you is it makes you feel helpless and worthless. आपने लगता मैंने कुछ नहीं किया जिंदगी में, मेरे से कुछ नहीं होगा, वो नेगेटिव है. तो जब नहीं मन करता मत करो. जब हो सके अगर बिस्तरे से उतर के नीचे तक आ सकते हो और गुड मॉर्निंग बोल सकते हो फैमिली को या फ्रेंड्स को, जब आप रात को सोते हो, बी ग्रेटफुल फॉर दैट एंड से कोई बात नहीं, आज मैंने इतना किया, कल हो सकता है ये भी नहीं करूं, बट जब चांस मिले करो, थोड़ा सा करो, crawl if you have to. I remember times in 2006 जब my mom would say, look, I'm going to go and chant, तुम्हें चलना है कि नहीं, and I didn't want to, I couldn't get out of bed. मैं रोता हुआ अपने घुटनों पे, I used to climb up 2 floors of stairs and go and sit at the back shivering like this while my mother prayed and chanted. But I would do it. I forced myself. There were times here also when I couldn't, when I didn't want to get out of bed, when I was anxious, but and I couldn't do it, and I wouldn't do it. Then Michelle would come. Kabhi kabhi, our friend Rushma would come. Half an hour. Come, Mayur, come. Let's do yoga. Let's do some exercise. Get out there. Talk to people. Meet people. This. So there is hope. जितना आपसे होता है करो. अगर आप ज्यादा करोगे, कर पाओगे, तो हो सकता है आप 3 मंथ में ठीक हो जाओगे. अगर आपको ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा, some people struggle all their whole lives, but they still manage to have normal lives. It is a sickness like anything. बीमार हो, दवाई लो. So number one, believe that for almost all of us, it is something that will come, but because it's come, as with all things that come, it will go. Number two, please don't hide it to yourself and worry about stigma and this and that. Worst case क्या होगा? आप बोलोगे भाई मैं डिप्रेसिव इंडिविजुअल हूँ, मेरे को डिप्रेशन है. लोग कहेंगे भाई हमारे को ऐसा व्यक्ति नहीं चाहिए है, नौकरी से निकाल दो, घर जाओ, फोकस, गेट बेटर. नौकरियां बहुत हैं, सबकी दाल रोटी चल जाती है. नहीं करोगे एक्नॉलेज, दबाए रखोगे और बीमार पड़ोगे, तो यू विल गेट टू अ स्टेज जो आप बिस्तरे से नहीं निकल पाओगे, तो नौकरी क्या करोगे आप, या किसी से डील क्या करोगे, या शादी कैसे करवाओगे. तो आप अगेन वो है कि आप अपना फ्यूचर को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश करो. आप मत करो, आप सिर्फ अपने प्रेजेंट पे काम करो. बिलीव दैट यू विल बी ओके. टेक छोटा छोटा स्टेप, जो भी होता है थोड़ा थोड़ा करो. हैव दैट पॉजिटिविटी एंड थिंग्स विल बी ओके. शेयर योर स्टोरी. मैं जिस जो मेरे को व्यक्ति मिलता था, जैसे यार यू आर नॉट लुकिंग वेल, बिकॉज नॉर्मली दिस इज माय फेस, हैप्पी, माय आईज आर ब्राइट. व्हेन यू आर डिप्रेस्ड, इट्स लाइक आई वुड शेयर माय स्टोरी विद एवरीबॉडी कि भाई आई एम स्ट्रगलिंग विद डिप्रेशन, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है, मेरी नेगेटिविटी है. एंड द ब्यूटीफुल थिंग इज व्हेन यू शेयर, इफ यू हैव दैट वल्नरेबिलिटी. अब क्या है, हमारी सोसाइटी ऐसी हो गई कि वल्नरेबिलिटी नहीं दिखानी. आई एम स्ट्रॉन्ग, स्पेशली इफ यू आर मेन, आई हैव टू प्रोवाइड, आई हैव टू बी दिस. अंदर से चाहे खोखले हो, जब आप वल्नरेबिलिटी दिखाओगे, यू विल बी सरप्राइज्ड टू लर्न कि 100 में से 99.9 व्यक्ति आपको हेल्प ही करेगा, प्यार ही देगा, सपोर्ट ही देगा. People will share their stories. People might give you a resource and say, you know, my cousin struggled exactly with this and this doctor really helped. या ये दवाई थी. या again you will get this feeling to say, यार मैं अकेला नहीं हूँ, मैं अजीब नहीं हूँ, मैं weird नहीं हूँ. ये सबको होता है, और लोगों को होगा. Pretty much everybody I spoke to then had the courage to share that either they or somebody they knew has struggled with this in the past. So you are not alone. People understand, people this, and if you put yourself out there, I was really lucky. I had Michelle, I had my parents, I had my friends. Advice nahi diya, sirf they listened. Even my father, who my whole life has been a Fauji man about, been like, let me tell you how to live life. When he saw this Black Dog Depression video, even Rocky and मेरी वो बहुत होती है. Rocky का भी है, because Rocky is really a man who's seen a lot in life, lived a lot in life. He's always ready to give you some useful advice to the other. But the biggest support I got from Rocky in both these times when I was really unwell was he didn't judge, he didn't advise, nothing. He just listened. So reach out. When you reach out when you're not well, you will find the universe will give you a lot of support. And last thing I want to say is that be grateful. आप एक चीज पकड़ लो, what you are grateful for, कि ये भी खराब हो सकती थी पर ये नहीं है खराब. Sooner than later, it will get okay. You will have to learn to live with it. You will manage it. फिर आप वो देखो स्ट्रैटेजीज क्या है, पॉजिटिविटी, माइंडफुलनेस, ग्रैटिट्यूड, एक्सरसाइज, ये चीजें जारी रखो. With luck, you'll never have to face it again. And if you do, every time, because you prepared in peace, आपने वो सारा एक्टिविटी किया है, जब आप बीमार पड़ोगे, it'll be easier to deal with it. It'll be better to deal with it. So that's all I have to say. If you're out there, अगर आप ये देख रहे हो, if you're struggling, I've been through it. Many people I know that you may know, if I take names, who you look at and say, kya perfect life hai, they're rich, they're powerful, they're famous, they're successful. Many people live with this, they struggle with it, they deal with it. We get out of it, we find our happiness, so can you.
You know, on Zen Brain, and I have to bring this up because it's related to depression. A lot of people have written to us about having suicidal thoughts. I want to ask you, did you ever, in your bout of depression, go through those suicidal thoughts?
Yes, I did. Both times. because that is just a factor of when you look at moderate or severe depression, the suicidal thoughts come out of a sense of helplessness कि अब कुछ हो नहीं सकता, मेरा कोई and worthlessness, मेरा कोई वैल्यू नहीं है इस दुनिया में, मैं किसी को कर नहीं रहा, इनफैक्ट आई एम जस्ट being a trouble, my parents already have something to deal with, or my wife and children have something to do, अब मैं उनके ऊपर बोझ बन गया हूँ, ये हो गया, वो thoughts आते हैं. I think the first thing is, especially when those thoughts start coming, even if abhi tak you've not shared with people or this, agar your brain has got you to a level where you're thinking these things, then immediately please inform people and seek help. It is very important to find a doctor, to find a thing. There are helplines for this. Life is the most precious and most valuable thing that we have. All of us are born in life with a mission. We have to complete that mission. Jo time hota hai. So number one, reach for help immediately. Number two, I said, because suicidal thoughts come out of worthlessness and helplessness, तो इट इज वेरी हेल्पफुल कि मतलब जब आप सुसाइड के पानी में डूब रहे हो तो आप वो एक रस्सी पकड़ लो, जो एक भी कोई चीज है पकड़ लो, कि अभी मैंने जान नहीं है, आई कांट स्विम बट सर ऊपर रखना है पानी के. यू फाइंड दैट वन थिंग, व्हाट आर यू ग्रेटफुल फॉर. इफ इट इज योर चाइल्ड दैट यू लव मोस्ट, then you, so what I focused on, the first time round I was single at this, I was like, yeah, I thought to myself, let me end my life. And then the only thing that would stop me was, I was like, yeah, my parents are getting older, so you start thinking of what you can help others with. Now it was like, I said, I brought children into this world. Parents are also older, chalo, they've lived life, they'll survive, my wife will manage. I brought children into this world, I have a responsibility to them. I'm the Buddhist practice. So many people have helped me. I have committed to being able to give back, to being able to help and support other people. They need me. In our Buddhist practice, again, it's very beautiful. What they do is, when you're struggling with anything, with what we call work karma or health karma, financial karma, in our Buddhist practice, if it is possible at all, they give you responsibility, more responsibility. Please look after some more members, or please go and visit some more people, or please pray with this person who's struggling. So what happens is, then immediately you find worth, because you are now saying, I'm not worthless. I can still in this state help somebody else. So find worth, find that one rasi or one reason that you have, usko pakad ke rakho, usko mat chodo, aur tab tak apna baki sab bhi karte raho. Go see a doctor, take the medication, take the thing. It is not forever. जब आप मेडिकेशन पे जाओगे तो जान निकलती है. I remember I would sit and cry. Doctor would give the दवाई and I'd be crying because he would say, don't go and read. I would go on the internet. Oh भाई साहब, एक चीज ठीक करती, इतनी लंबी लिस्ट of things to be careful for, ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा. अब जब आप डिप्रेस होते हो, आपके दिमाग में होता है, यार ये तो सब मुझे होगा. So I would worry and say, oh this. Then my wife and Rocky, both of them would tell me, यार कभी क्रोसिन खाई है? मैं कहा खाई है. कहते हो go online and see क्रोसिन के कितने possible होते हैं. Just because it's all written there by law doesn't mean you'll get all of it. So I think you catch on to any one thing. You have worth, no matter who you are, no matter what you're struggling with. There are people that depend on you. If not physically, then emotionally. If not emotionally, then mentally. If not mentally, then financially. You are there, you add value in the lives of people, you are connected to people, you have meaning, you have worth. By the very fact that you're alive, you have worth. I don't know of a single person, maybe there are people like that in life, but Hitler को भी कोई प्यार करता था, Stalin को भी कोई प्यार करता था. They had worth to somebody. तो आप तो हिटलर नहीं हो, स्टालिन नहीं हो, whoever you are, आप नॉर्मल व्यक्ति हो, you have worth. Not just because you were meant to enjoy life and get and have a good life and die. You were meant to give back. You were meant to change somebody else's life. You were meant to be that hand that reaches out to help somebody. And maybe वो आपका time नहीं आया, तो you have to be around to do that. You have to live. We all have to live full lives, especially those of us like you, me, who are blessed with our basic needs are met. घर चल रहा है, health ठीक है. Then it almost is a responsibility to give back, to help, which is why I'm doing this. I'm so grateful because when I was unwell, I had Michelle, I had my parents, I had Rocky, I had my friends who gave back, who supported me. So ये तो बहुत छोटी चीज़ है that I can do to encourage other people, to say that it will be okay, you will be okay, you have worth, don't give up.
And coming back to what we began with, treat depression as an illness, much like you would treat a really bad bout of viral fever or typhoid, and get treatment, get help. Also, the highest percentage of suicides is a result of untreated depression. So go get help, talk about it. There's no stigma. There should not be stigma attached to either depression or suicidal thoughts, because These are things which come with an illness. We have to manage our moods. We have to manage whatever we are going through with the work that we do. And that requires a good, strong support system, which fortunately you've been blessed with. A lot of people don't have that. But the pandemic has sort of turned the notion of normal on its head, where many people have also been laid off and there is still stigma attached to it. You were laid off at some point too. What can you tell us about the experience and what is your advice to people? Because it involves like their whole life, especially in India, where we give so much of importance to the work that we do.
And this is where at the point I say, देखो ये बाल है ना जो दाढ़ी में सफेद वाले, ये धूप में सफेद हुए. So I'm almost 50, so this is my accumulated wisdom. Babaji is going to say. I think the first thing again is it's important, and it may sound funny in this, but life में अपनी थोड़ी expectations कम करो. पैर उतने लंबे करो जितनी लंबी चादर है. The moment this pandemic hit, because I've been in that situation and all, I knew that the challenge is going to be, and it is still not being addressed in our country. Everybody's focusing economic. This is a perfect storm of ingredients for a mental health epidemic. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope I'm wrong, because you have fear. ये virus है, it can kill me, it can kill my loved ones. You have uncertainty. कब आएगा, कब vaccine आएगी, कब निकलूंगा. You have challenges in the future. People are being laid off. They have different problems that they are facing with EMI नहीं कोई भर पा रहा है and all. So this is a perfect storm for anxiety, depression and stuff. कम चीजें हैं अपने, if you're living within your means, तो pressure वैसे ही कम होता है. When Rocky and I, we run a training company, and one of my favorite stories that I tell people when we do these things is, at the turn of the 20th century, so in early 1900s, Manchester in the UK was famous for its shoe factories. जूते बनते थे in so they said, yeah, Africa possibly bada market. So they sent 2 salesmen out. So one salesman wrote, big problem, too many challenges, nobody here wears shoes. And the other salesman sent a telegraph in capital letters with lots of exclamation saying, huge opportunity. Nobody here wears shoes yet. Why is this important? For every 10 people that I've met who've really been hit hard by the pandemic and who struggled and all, I have met one person, including Rocky and me, who's very grateful that because of the pandemic, because of the enforced lockdown, we re-looked at our lives, simplified our lives, or made very radical changes in life that have enabled us to actually do better in life and relationships, in work, than we were before the pandemic. So is that possible for everybody? The opportunity? Yes. Will it take some people 1 month to do it and some people 1 year to do it? Yes. In every disaster lies opportunity. There are so many examples of people who now become home chefs, started their own businesses, cloud kitchens are doing well.
That's right.
Some people use that time to get new skills. Some people just hung around and had a break and did stuff, not realizing, did stuff that they've always been saying they wanted to do. Yaar, can't sit down for a meal with the family. Because जब तक मैं घर आता हूँ, बच्चे सो गए होते हैं. Here you were stuck. You had no choice. You had to be with family. One way of looking at this is that ये disaster था. One way of looking at it is this is the universe that told us all कि boss, some serious resetting is required in our way of life and our way of this. अगर आप लॉकडाउन में आपका जॉब चली गई, स्ट्रेस हो गया, ये हो गया, इफ यू डू समथिंग एज सिंपल एज हर सुबह उठ के और हर शाम सोने से पहले 3 चीजें लिख लो दैट जो अच्छी हुई हैं, जो आप विश करते थे बिफोर लॉकडाउन और अब आपको करने को मिल रही हैं. I think you can start rewiring your brain and all to see, and then when your brain starts working that way, फिर आपको opportunity भी दिखेगी. Rocky and I had no work. We are not chefs. हम घर पे बैठे हुए थे. 1 महीना, 2 महीना, 4 महीने, 6 महीने, 8 महीने. We tried 1 or 2 cooking videos. कर दिया, but people want to see us traveling, laughing, exploring. अब वो कैसे करें घर पे बैठे? So जैसे ही वो lockdown खुला, the two of us got into a car, and that's how our journeys had started. 2 friends driving on the road. The only thing that Highway on My Plate did in 2007 was we added a camera. हम गाड़ी में बैठे, हमने कहा बड़ा क्रू लेंगे, एक्सपोजर ज्यादा है, चांस ऑफ गेटिंग सिक, होटल रूम्स यू कांट कंट्रोल, नो प्रॉब्लम, फोन पे शूट करते हैं. Rocky, me, one car, our friend Ajay at the back with an iPhone. We started shooting content. The government had said you can travel. अब आप travel करोगे, the travel industry, hotels, restaurants, waiters, tour operators, bus guys, cab drivers, जब लोग ट्रैवल करेंगे सबका घर चलेगा. So we wanted to encourage that. So we got out. We started making shows on our phone, and it's done beautifully. We've now done 3 seasons. Then television started again. तो चलती का नाम गाड़ी.
And just to let everyone know that it's done exceptionally well. So congratulations on that.
It's as simple as acceptance. Not acceptance कि अरे अब नौकरी चली गई तो घर बैठ जाओ और भूखे मरो और भगवान बचाएगा. No. Acceptance of the fact कि ये मेरी reality है. Now I don't have a job, I have a challenge. अब मैं इसको लेके बैठ जाऊं अपने बिस्तरे में, or should I get out there and start moving, marring up pair, getting qualifications in something else, trying something new, and I can promise you this: हाथ पैर मारोगे, करोगे, you will find something. बिस्तरे में लेट जाओगे saying I can't do anything, you will head down the path of depression and anxiety and helplessness and worthlessness. I don't know if you want to go down that path. We are Fauji kids, Rocky and I. We are 70s children. We grew up with parents. We had almost nothing. 5-7 दिन तो wait करना पड़ता था for a small 50-gram tikki of Amul butter. We come from that time. Not to say our life was difficult. Our life was, we were very happy then also. We were very blessed. Our parents could put food on the table, we ate. But those were challenging times. We loved it then also. Yeah.
The thing is to keep moving every single day. As you said, one day at a time, one step at a time. You're moving to Goa. Was that one of the strategies to just, get away from the hustle bustle of city expectations? Sometimes it's just very busy, this place, aggressive.
We moved to Goa because my wife and I were volunteering with this group of concerned citizens, lawyers, doctors, scientists, about the air in Delhi. We researched, started trying to build awareness. We were laughed at by everybody. A lot of our near and dear ones, our loved ones, laughed at us and said, "Yeah, this is the reality of life. India has always been like this. Deal with it." And the more we learned about it and saw the long-term effects, we were nervous. So literally, my wife, she makes most of the good decisions in our life. Literally, I came back one day from work, and she was at the gate with the bags packed and the children, and she's like, "We're moving." And I remember laughing and saying, "Bibi, sorry, galti ho gayi, don't leave me. Batao, what can I fix?" She said, "No, this is done. We're leaving. We're going to Goa." And they left that night with another couple that lived down the road from us, our friends. So Goa was not for that, but Goa has been fantastic for just for us to have the sort of life that we grew up having. Our children run around barefoot. They have the beach. They climb into trees. Our son very often will go to school nange pair. There's time here. People are kinder. You see smiles on the road. I don't remember the last time I looked at a car in traffic in Delhi and saw somebody smiling. Rocky and I are always either we're like arguing and fighting about something, or we've got music on and we're laughing and we're having a good time. And every time we're on the road, our mission always is that everybody who looks into our car should go away with a smile on their face. Sometimes people recognize us and then we'll roll down the window and have a chat. But even if they don't, the universe gives you back what you put out into it. My wife is a very big believer in that, and I wish I could practice it more. You put out positive thoughts and belief in the universe, it will come back to you. We genuinely believe that. अब आप उसको hippie thinking कह लो या airy fairy कह लो, ये reality नहीं है life की कह लो, but you get your joy where you find it.
It doesn't take much to be happy, and I think this is a perfect place for us also to sort of conclude this, because you've left us with some very interesting points for us to ponder, and the two big things are mindfulness and of course gratefulness. Thank you very much for joining us on Zen Brain and sharing your experience. It comes as a surprise to many people that you've chosen to speak up about your depression, but thank you very much for doing that, because we set up Zen Brain to talk about things like mental health issues, like depression, and many challenges that we face in life that we don't usually have words to describe, because nobody has taught us these life skills. And I think it's important to have these conversations. So thank you for that. So on that note, and for this very serious discussion, thank you very much, Mayur, and thank you for adding, that flavor that only you can.
My pleasure. A word of thanks to you also. I think what work you're doing, Shruti, with Zen Brain, and you're doing very valuable work. Because the reality of life is that because it's been a stigma and because it's not been addressed in a country like ours, the proportion of mental health specialists, doctors, therapists, compared to the number of people that are struggling with it, the ratio is very badly skewed. So I think what people such as yourselves and your platform are doing is, the more awareness we bring, the more spotlight we shine on this, the more we normalize it and say कि ये भी reality है life में, लोग बीमार पड़ते हैं, दिमाग बीमार होता है, then I think more and more it will become something that becomes a viable career option for people, to say कि I want to help people as a therapist, as a psychiatrist, I can help. Hopefully, slowly, the laws of our country, the support systems will get better.
Yes.
But for that, you guys are doing the very valuable first step of shining a spotlight onto this and say कि भाई ये है problem. अब इसको ठीक करनी है तो ये साथ करना पड़ेगा. So thank you very much for that. Great work. Good job. Anything going forward also that I can help with in the cause, I'm very happy to do. It's the least I can do. I feel it's my responsibility to be able to help. So I'm here, whatever I can help with.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayur.
I owe you a big debt of gratitude for giving this platform to help somebody else. So thank you.